Hello, this is Dear and welcome to another video. Today we're doing another video inside of Hermitcraft. Hermitcraft season Clockwork, and yeah, we're going right back into chapter 7, which is still episode 52. And yeah. Let's get right into it, shall we? Where did they go? One of the men asked in confusion. They couldn't have gone far. Look for them, another ordered. As he looked around the room, as Jim crouched behind one of the beds, seeing the men noticed something as the other two left the room. She wondered if that would be worth ambushing the men as she watched some of her friends' bubbles slip through the door, as the men trailed them. He was suddenly lunging as he heard Tango managed lunging. Oh no, this is bad. There we go. She heard Tango manage. Let's try this again. She wondered if it would be worth ambushing the men as she watched some of her friends' bubbles slip through the door, as well as the man. Through the door as the man trailed them before suddenly lunging, as she heard Tango's yelp of surprise as she leapt from the bed and tackled the man as he hollered in surprise. There we go. Thank you. The hermits are invisible, the third man shouted as Jim slapped him across the face as he groaned, getting to his feet as she noticed bubbles escape the room. She followed, knowing who it was as she glanced over her shoulder. You okay? She asked after she was sure none of the men were close by. She could hear them running down the hallway and downstairs, but hadn't seen them yet. Yeah, thanks. Tango admitted with a nervous chuckle. I didn't want to have to let go of Granny to defend myself. I've got your back, she smiled, knowing he couldn't see it. First, I need better gear. Follow me. Tango replied as she followed the bubbles to one of the doors. As she opened it, peeking in to make sure it was empty, as she dashed to find a mess of chests and chocolate boxes. Well, good luck. Jim chuckled as she checked through some of the chests before finding what she needed. As she pulled out a spare diamond sword and a few pieces of armor, she wasn't sure if she needed them, but it was good to have. She also found a few loaves of bread that she took with her. She was sure Green wouldn't mind her borrowing it. He doesn't happen to have a spare medical kit, does he? She asked curiously. Not that I know of, Tango admitted. We need to get going. The men are getting closer, and they'll certainly see us. How much longer does the potion last? She questioned. I don't know, Tango replied. Maybe a little more than a minute. We need to hurry. Let's go, she said. Satisfied with everything, as she followed the bubbles towards the stairs, as she heard one of the men shout to block the doors. Shall we escape through a window? Might be the best choice. I've got some rope we can use. Tango agreed as they slipped into a nearby room, and she noticed the rope appear out of thin air as she took it, opening the window as she tied it firmly to something. She let it fall, testing it firmly. She glanced over to where she'd seen the bubbles last. She felt someone brush past her. How am I going to get Gran down with me? Tango asked curiously. It's not that hard to figure out, Jeff pointed out as the YouTuber chuckled. She noticed the rope move as she watched the bubbles disappear. Just as she noticed a couple of men spot the rope as she swallowed. Run, Tango! What about you? Tango asked. I'll find you guys, she promised as she grabbed for the rope and went down, running as soon as the men neared. They're getting away! One of the men hollered as she charged forward towards the trees, spotting the bubbles again as they disappeared into the trees as well. I see one! A second man hollered as she heard glass shattering behind her as she gasped in surprise. She looked down to see her body slowly reappearing as she grabbed for a elytra and put it on as she ran. Grab her! She heard one of the men order as She broke into the trees, weaving around as she tried to lose her pursuers, seeing a shadow ahead as she wondered if she should risk following it, as she heard the men still coming for her. After a little bit of time, the footsteps soon grew distant before stopping entirely as she slowed down, trying to catch her breath, realizing quickly she was the only one of her friends who didn't have a communicator. No one had given her one. Nor had she managed to find a spare in what chest she'd looked in. She needed to find some place safe to hide until someone could find her. Maybe a while before someone would. "Hello?" she called out, wondering if anyone would be able to call her as she found an open spot that branches hadn't covered as she launched herself out of the woods below, top of the trees, looking around the area, hoping she'd spot any of her friends. So far, she couldn't see anything. "Well, this is interesting," a voice said from behind her as she jumped, whirling around to see one of Miss Ray's men not far away. Separated from his friends, no way to call for help. "You know I can go to someone's base, right? Or go to my own? There are ways," she pointed out. "I suppose that's true," the man shrugged. "Still, you managed to escape from us, and warned your friends about our attacks. Mr. A will not be pleased to hear this. If we do find any of your friends, you know you will make sure they suffer greatly for that choice." "I never had a choice," she snapped. "You won't get away with it." "You sure about that?" the man asked quizzically. "There's a lot of you. The cause can't possibly protect everyone, much less you." "I'm not afraid of you," she said firmly. "Even after we've tortured so many of your friends, threatened their very lives?" the man asked as he tilted his head quizzically. "You haven't won," she replied firmly. "We will. You will see." The man smiled coldly. "Jem, behind you!" a voice shouted as she whirled around, dodging at the man. Lodged from behind and fell to the earthy ground below with a groan as she looked over to see Tango swooping back to stand next to her. "You came back?" she asked curiously. "Just wanted to make sure you were okay," he smiled. "Oh, nice," the man replied with a sneer. "Be quiet, we're done here," Tango replied. "Matter of fact, oh, but we're far from finished, you dear," the man mused. Shook his head. "The signal may be gone, but that doesn't mean we're done." "We need to go," Jim told her friend simply. "Follow me." Tango nodded as he launched the rocket and she followed suit. The man hollered at them to come back. Jim ignored him, knowing he was only trying to waste their time, to distract them from their friends. She hoped the others were okay. She would know soon, though. How much time do we have? Yes. Chapter 8. Let us continue. Last chapter, for now. Jem followed Tango through the sky, not daring to look down to see if any of the men were chasing them. They were going on a steady pace as they neared a clearing, as she looked to see her friends waiting for them. Green was still unconscious as he was lying on the grassy floor, where beat-ups, Impulse, and Pearl kept an eye on the surrounding area. The two hermits landing on the ground as Pearl ran over to greet them. "We're so glad you're okay, Jem," she replied happily as Jem smiled, hugging her friend in relief. "Me too," she agreed. "Probably would have been fine with that guy, but I do appreciate the backup." "Anytime," Tango said with a smile before looking at the others. "We need to get to one of our bases and station there for a bit, at least until we hear it all clear from the cause." "Yeah," Jim agreed. "I'm a little uneasy, though, about the fact that we haven't yet seen any of our escorts." "I'm sure they're fine," Pete replied confidently. "How about we go to our place?" Pearl offered. "It's far less obvious, and we have stuff there we can use to defend ourselves in case we're followed." "Good idea," Impulse replied. He went over to Green, gently shaking him before looking over at Tango. "Mind lending me a hand? We can go together." "Of course." Tango smiled as he walked over and helped his friend get the hermit to his feet as he grabbed his rockets. Jem glanced back at her other friends, who had already launched themselves in the sky. She followed suit, staying slightly behind her friends, just in case anything happened. She wasn't taking her chances. Sure enough, they arrived safely at hers and Pearl's bases. As they landed on the ground, entering the house as Pearl activated the system while Tango carried the sleeping Green upstairs, as she was surprised that he hadn't woken up from all of this, but the way she was glad he hadn't. He'd already been through a lot. At least now they were in a safer location. Nothing much happened after this, as she as there were some small talk between her friends as well as preparing for a possible attack. So far, the men seemed to have not followed them. Either that, or they'd been dealt with by the escorts. Shortly after they'd arrived here, Matthias had managed to catch up with them and said he'd be nearby if they needed anything. Slowly but surely, every one of the escorts returned and said similar things. Jem having a feeling of the danger that had to have been sorted, but the cause was being wary just in case. When she asked about it, she was told not to worry and that everything was under control. She had to believe it as she went upstairs to see if her friend had woken up yet. She managed to arrive at the door as it opened. As a face peeked through the door, Beatus smiled as he gestured for her to come inside. She glanced around the room before hearing movement, and she looked down at the bed as she noticed her friend stir. She smiled. His eyes slowly opened as he saw his friend staring at him. I don't remember being here last time, he admitted with a yawn. A lot has happened. Jem chuckled. You okay? I'll be fine, he smiled. She managed to sit up and wipe the sleepers from his eyes. Is everyone all right? Yeah, Jem replied, glancing over at B-Dubs, who shrugged and nodded. I'm guessing so from how the cause has been reacting. Good, Grian said with a relieved smile. She returned it as she glanced out the window, noticing one of the escorts pass by as she looked back at her friend. I'm sure you want to hear about everything, she replied matter-of-factly. If you're up to it, Grian said as a smile shifted. The man's still out there, though, isn't he? Yep, B-Dibs stated. He was surprisingly not a part of this attack, though. I'm sure he's out there somewhere, Green replied quietly. His eyes shaking his head. Liam's taking care of it, don't worry, B-Dip said as he walked over to his friend, planting a hand on his shoulder. It's good, Green agreed. I'm sure we'll have answers soon about all of this. Yeah, Jim said happily, as she went over to sit on a chair next to the bed. How about I fill you in on everything, and we can deal with the rest after? Green nodded and smiled. Tell me. She didn't hold back, telling about her capture and her attempt to escape, Mr. A's proposal and defeat, as well as his threat. She left nothing out before hesitating. Wait, actually I took something that might be important. No? Green answered, raising both eyebrows with intrigue. Oh boy, beat upset with a grin as they watched her pull out the book with notes. I'm not sure what these mean and all, but I found it in a random room, she replied. Can't be certain it's the real deal, though, since I don't expect them to leave it in the open like that. Green nodded as he took it from her, opening it as he scanned it. Whether or not it is or not, we can work with that. We should probably share this with the cause, or at least some of them, she admitted. Good idea, B-Dubs agreed. This is going to be fun. Sure will, Green chuckled as he coughed, adding that he was so fine when he saw the concern on his friend's expressions. Jim nodded as she smiled again, knowing full well that the men wouldn't stand a chance. Sad noises. Stand a chance if they ever tried to get to them again. Take one of them, and they may as well have to deal with all of them. They were a team, and there was nothing the men could do to take that from them. Well, that about does it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, next story is coming soon. I don't even have any hints for you, because I'm still trying to figure it out. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one, whenever that might be. And hopefully, I will try to make this the finale, if possible. Maybe make it a little bit longer. That'd be interesting, yeah? We'll see how it goes. Thank you guys for watching.